We use it to support our websites. As right now, what we're using it for is our public websites. It hosts like all of our public sites. Like if you're looking out at like Anthem.com, ElevanceHealth.com, Carelon.com, it's our public presence. So it allows our authors to be able to author content quickly and get it out to production. It allows us to get quick speed to market for any of the changes we need it to get out there. Also, there is another part of the company that also uses it for some of the EAP and get messaging and campaigns, as well as we also use different parts for other branches of it through like Adobe Target and analytics, and so we use it to get more information about how the product's actually being used, how the sites are being used, to make sure that we get the best information out there for the customer. Particularly well is it does allow us to stand up a website relatively quickly. It also allows us to componentize different parts. So when we are trying to get to production, we can segment out the development from the authorship. So if we want to have development go all the way through in a dark release, we can do that separately and then have that ready for the authors. And then the authors can pick up the components and create the pages and release those at any time. So they're able to do a lot more independently without needing a lot of development support. Depending on what they're trying to put in production, it reduces their dependency on engineering. So it makes it so it's a lot easier for them to get things out into production quickly. Also, it allows the authors to be able to push their content into production anytime, and then they can author it, and they feel like they have a lot more power that they didn't have before. It also allows us we're also creating templates and websites that they can actually get more messages out there quickly to the consumers, so that we can, like, let's say we wanted to create a marketing site with flexible phone numbers. They could get that out quickly, get the message, get the campaign, with little to no engineering support. There might be some, but it's less than it was with the other heavy lifting we've had with the other content management. One of the problems that we particularly have and would love to see a lot of improvements with is we use Cloud Manager for deployments, specifically with the managed services. We have a lot of issues with the fact that it is one pipe and one pipeline. So if we do a deployment, we have one thing at a time, and so you have to wait for one batch and one deployment to go through. So typically, if you push one thing through stage, you have to wait, and then it goes to prod, and then if you have another batch that you need to send up, you usually typically have like about an hour or 4 hours wait while everybody's doing a validation, and then it has to go to production. So we need to find a way to either have multi-pipes or multi-stage ability to be able to get more things staged or ready to go, or be able to have a better deployment mechanism to get things into production. Because that wait time and that it's just the cycle is just hard. Additionally, we've talked with Adobe about this. We piloted the blue-green experience with them, and we're just looking for some more improvements with them. And we're consulting with them on that for a better blue-green experience to allow for offline and online servers, so that we can do that switch over a little bit quicker. And then obviously that's my biggest pain point that I've seen. And then other things are just like customizations that we're still learning. I mean, we have only been in it for a couple of years, but we're still learning ourselves. There's things that you learn every day. The other piece is with managed services, it is a lot different than the cloud service. So there's things that they are improving and pushing along in the cloud service that they just aren't doing in the managed service. So we need to find out if there's ways they can enhance the managed service at the same rate as they're doing the cloud service. For a light colleague, in the same, I would say probably an 8 or a 9, and just with some of the caveats and experiences I've had, depending on what they're actually trying to do. It's well suited for companies that have a need to get things out to production quickly. They have a marketing department, a stronger marketing department, or one that can be trained. Understanding that you need to get things a lot more streamlined. You need to reduce your overhead a little bit with the engineering. You get stuck in a cycle. So if you need to break the development cycle a little bit and just reduce your time to market. If they're getting stuck on being able to get innovations and items into production and give a lot more power to your marketing, it's a great product for that. And then and it actually makes your site more dynamic. So if they need more dynamic content, more dynamic sites, great product for it. And also if you have smaller sites that you're trying to do, it's more flexible for you. I think it wouldn't be good for someone who is maybe a small company that is that doesn't have maybe all the technical skills to do it, but it may not be maybe a mid-size, the larger company. But that could be wrong too. It all depends on how they want to do it. I think it could be right size for anyone. I'd say it has to depend on the use case. Well, I can't speak monetarily, but I can say it's allowed us to get some sites out and messages out very quickly. We've been able to stand up some sites incredibly under very tight time frames in messaging, especially during the pandemic. We were able to not only get information out about COVID, we were able to get messages about to basically the general population about information about their insurance, about issues that were happening with, how to find test sites, how to find, test kits, how to find information about your insurance, how to get information about maybe even information about like storms or anything happening. So we found this is able to get up messaging very quickly and turn around sites pretty fast. Once we got rolling on it, we were able to do it. And we found that it was just able to get that messaging and sites out very fast. I've used a lot of different products over the years. I've used, in the past, we used Interwoven Team Site. We are currently also moving over from Oracle Web Center Sites, so we are using that currently as well. And of course, we evaluated that along with AEM. We've looked at, what did we look at? We looked at Drupal, we looked at several of the other ones. But for the most part, when we did our RFP, AEM came out ahead for us. When we did our evaluations, we were looking for one that would give the authors more power and less technology that they would have to worry with code. And they would be able to be a lot more lightweight and be able to have a lot more power in their hands. And this is the one that came out of the RFP for us. In the beginning, when we started using it, I would say it was probably more of a 5 for us, just from our learning curve until we got better. I'd say as we're moving forward and we're making more customizations and we're getting used to it, I say for now, it's about a 7 or 8, but as more innovations and more information comes out from Adobe, as they make more changes and they make improvements, I'd say that they're getting probably about an 8 right now. I think for me personally, I like to be able to see what's going on in the system the best. I know to be able to go in and say, okay, what's happening with my system? I can be able to go into the consoles and I can see at any given point, where is my system? Is it down? Is it slow? Do I need to call somebody? Is there an issue? And it's pretty much all there. And I have pretty much instant feedback before I start calling and freaking out a little bit and saying, oh, it's too slow. Why is it slow? And then I can start digging in. Adobe gives us tools to be able to look at some of the logging, so we can start looking that way. So they give you tools to be able to do what you need to do before it becomes too big of a problem. Some of the other issues is it does come with core components, and then they allow you the ability to customize from there. And then you also have and then just the basic authorship and the ability for them to drag and drop components onto the page. The authors love it. They love the ability that they can just take a page, drag and drop the components, move them around, and then they can make a page and go from there. And once we create the templates, they're great to go. Yes. Yes, but we can always want more. The initial ones, yes. But obviously, we always want more as we learn, as we grow, and more things that we want. There's always enhancements that we learn as we continue to use the product. We are in close contact with Adobe and the Adobe support on different enhancements that we want. Well, we ran into some challenges as we learned, how to integrate it with our systems. There's always security things that you have to learn and different nuances, like with every company. So it was a kind of what we expected, but not. So it was just learning those curves. Not everybody can expect what you're going to run into. So you have to be cognizant of what might you run into and start thinking about that and plan for that what if. So always talk to your security. Keep them in the loop and make sure you're talking through that with them when you're evaluating the product, because there could be something there just to make sure it's connected in there. Also look at one of the things is we are using managed services. So it is on the Adobe Cloud themselves, and so we're not hosting it. So there was just different connections that we had to deal with there. So, and because we're not hosting it, it is a different model for us. So it's just getting used to that as well. Yes.